Hi everybody, Mark Oman with Digital Solutions, back for another Whiteboard Wednesday, and today we're going to talk about the top 10 biggest mistakes in websites that we come across. This is kind of a summary of 2011. We're wrapping up the year and some of the biggest things we've seen in the sites that we've been hired to fix a lot of the problems that we come across every day. So we'll get started here. Number one on our list, bad page titles. Y'all know the page titles. If you don't, check out Kirsten. She just did a free tip Friday last week on page titles on your sites. I always say it's 90% of what you can do in on-site optimization is done in the page title. Now I made that number up, but it's one of the most effective spots for communicating to the search engines and to all the users on your site what that page is about. And I can't tell you how many times we come across sites where every page title on the site is the same exact title. It's like walking into a bookstore where every book has the same title. It's meaningless. And if the search engines see that you put no time into your title, they give you no credit for what you're telling them the page is about. So duplicate page titles or just plain bad page titles that aren't focusing on search terms. Easy way to check that, if you're not signed up for one of our tools that tracks your site, you can head over to XML Sitemaps right now and put your site in and just take a look. It'll show you a quick sitemap of your site and look at your page titles, see how many of them are the same. Check up on your web developers, see if they're doing a good job. Number two, following right along with number one, bad page titles, bad URLs. I just had a company, a friend of mine sent me a link to their new site that through their CRM system, they got a new site and they sent it to me to look at the other day, and they butchered all their SEO because they broke all their beautiful URLs that they had on the old site. Their URLs now look like company/services instead of actually saying what the service is. So instead of saying, being a URL that says facelift right in the URL, it now says services. Nobody searches for services, they search for facelifts, they search for tummy tucks. We want to use those search terms directly in the URLs as well as the page titles. If page titles are 90% of what we can do on a site for SEO, URLs are the other 90%. Again, totally making up numbers, but really these two items here drive the bulk of what you can do in on-page optimization. Everything else you do complements what you did in your page title and in your URL. Number three on the list. Wow, no analytics, really? And it's amazing how many times we go out to a site. We actually built this into our own web crawler now to check all of our client sites and all the people who sign up for our free tools to make sure they have analytics installed on every page on the site. We just came across one again the other day, a CPA firm here. A friend of mine is a partner, and one of the other partners hired another company to do their site, and we just ran our crawler on it, and half the pages, the new firm, their new development company, didn't put the analytics on. Half the pages. We got to have analytics. That's what allows us to track what's going on your site. That's what allows us to improve, to find out what keywords are driving traffic, which pages are getting the traffic, and really all the data that we want to look at down the road. So we got to have analytics. One of the most popular choices is Google Analytics. It's free, it's easy to install, there's absolutely no reason not to have it on every page of your site. Number four, kind of a controversial topic, but focusing too much on design versus the data. And this dovetails right off of analytics. So often we come across companies who they want to create a certain look, and they're not so worried about what the consequences are as far as traffic to the site. They're more interested in the perception the site is creating than they are in the actual numbers of what the traffic is saying. Now, I'm not saying we want to go with a bad design. We definitely want beautiful designs. We want awesome looking designs. People should come to the site and say, wow. But to give an example, quite often we find customers, they get focused on one element of design. I got to have a drop-down navigation, they'll say. We got to have drop-down navigation because then that's going to make them feel good about their site, when in effect the drop-down navigation is a design decision based on content inside the site. And actually, in my opinion, drop-down navigations should be on their way out because they don't work well on mobile devices. Have you ever tried to move your finger over a drop-down nav to get to a point on your site when you're on your phone? It's very hard. But a lot of companies still want to see that drop-down navigation. I think they see it as a status symbol. So that's just one example, but focusing too much on design and not looking at the actual data. What are people coming to the site to see? What pages are they looking at, and letting that determine how your site is laid out, how it's designed, so that you're creating a great user experience and not simply focusing on what your perception of the image is. So again, kind of a controversial one, but just my opinion. Moving on to number 5, focusing on too much on the competition versus your own data. So often we get, it's one of the great things about our industry, because people aren't very happy with their site for very long. They're always looking, the grass is always greener, they're always checking out the competition site, and they're getting new ideas for their site. Well, that's great, but a lot of times, no matter what they do on their own site, they're always going to think the competition is better. It reminds me of when I go fishing with my son. He always wants to be where all the other boats are, because that must be the spot. And I always tell him, well, they're all congregating there because one person did, the other one followed, everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best spot. So again, we want to focus on the data, your own data. We want to have our own system in place to look at your own data, see what's working. Now, it's not bad to go look at the competition. We obviously want to stay on top of what the competition is doing. We want to monitor who the competitors are that are moving up in the rankings and probably stealing some of your traffic. So we definitely want to keep an eye on the competition, but we don't just want to look at the competition site and make blind changes to our own site because we think that they're doing a better job. So again, we want data over competition and not competition before data. Number 6 on the list, having a set it and forget it mentality. Yeah, we built our website last year, or we redid it 18 months ago. It's over there chugging away. Really, it needs to become a part of your business. If you want it to drive your business, if you want to drive new patients, your site needs to become a part of your business. There needs to be a regular review put in place by somebody, maybe not you, but somebody has to be responsible for reviewing what's happening on the site and how you're going to improve. Otherwise, you will see your site gradually fall out of the rankings and you'll start losing traffic. One of the big problems that we see, which is actually a really cool problem to have, but what happens when you follow best practices and you really start to optimize your site for these phrases, and you got good page titles, good URLs, you have your analytics in place and you're targeting new phrases and you're getting people to the site, you're going to start to collect some leads. And you're going to start to get a quantity of leads every month. 50, 100 leads is not uncommon for a medical clinic site. And these are good targeted leads, names, emails of people who have expressed an interest in your service. Well, after month 1, you have 50 names to 100 names. Month 2, you're 100 to 200 names. And you can see 6 months down the road, sometimes people say, well, what do I do? What am I doing with the leads from 6 months ago? Am I treating them different than the new leads? What am I doing about the leads who had an interest in a mommy makeover? Am I treating them like a lead that had an interest in Botox? You really need to have a good lead follow-up system in place and a lead nurturing system so that you're following up with those patients over time. They may have come to your site and they're just thinking about a procedure, but they're not able to do it right now. It may be 6 months, 8 months down the road. What are you doing to stay in touch with them over time and not just blasting them with your monthly newsletter? We want to be sending them targeted messages about the procedures they're interested in. That's what turns into buyers. So number 7 on our list, a big mistake we see, not having an effective lead follow-up system. Number 8, this could actually go ahead of number 7 because we're not going to get the leads when we don't have good landing pages. But these come into play. Landing pages are pages with a specific purpose of collecting the data for a lead. We want to drive people to a page with limited options. We're getting them to fill out a form. They've expressed an interest in something. Maybe they've come to us from pay-per-click, organic search, social media. We want them to fill out a form, so we create a special page that draws the attention to the form. We get a higher effectiveness rate, a higher conversion rate when we actually create landing pages with an intent in mind. What we see is we see prospective new prospects who come to us. They're running an AdWords campaign and they're driving all their AdWords traffic to the homepage on their site. Well, when someone searches for facelift in Houston, your ad comes up. Wow, you got the placement from Google. That's great. Now you get the click. They click on your ad. They come through to your site, and you drop them on your homepage, which says absolutely nothing about the procedure they were searching for, or they have to go find it somewhere. We want to bring them to a page that's dedicated to the procedure they search for. We're going to get a much higher conversion rate because we're actually catering to that visitor. We're targeting the content that they search for. We know what they're looking for. We're making it nice and easy for them. So we got to have landing pages. We're going to see a much higher conversion rate, and that's going to lead to more leads, and then this problem of how do we follow up with them, which is a great problem to have. Number 9 on the list, no social media engagement. We find many docs in specifically who set up a Twitter account. It's kind of out there running. They don't have a graphic in place on the account, or their Facebook page is out of date, or if they are posting things to those sites, they're not engaging their users. They're not creating a dialogue, and they're not building their brand through social media. So, and that's a tough one because it's a new landscape, a new area for a lot of people, and they're not sure exactly what to do. So they're kind of stumbling their way through it. But there's many of agencies out there. We can help set up effective programs. There's a lot of companies who can help you set up effective programs and get the right resources in place to create the engagement and create the traffic to your site for those people who you're following and who you're conversing with on the social media platforms. And finally, number 10 on my list, not bringing everyone to the table. We have a lot of parties involved with a website because when it's effective, when it becomes a central part of your business. We need to get marketing involved, any publicists. We need the doctors involved. We need everybody together at the table, the people who are responsible for follow up with the leads, so that everybody is on the same program and they know what tools, what resources are available, and we know who's taking care of what aspect of everything that needs to be done for the website. So we really need to bring everyone together and make sure all the ideas are coming together nicely and that everyone knows what's going on. We've run into instances where people will hire a publicist. We know nothing about it until further down the road, and the publicist is doing one thing, we're doing another, and really we all need to be together at the same place so that we're at least sharing ideas and letting them know of what we're doing and they know what we're doing. So I hope you enjoyed my list. Top 10 reasons or top 10 mistakes we see in websites today, and let's hope that the bulk of these are gone in 2012, or at least gone for you. Thanks for watching. Take care.